Wait, what's that?
I need. Dude, you're making me look so little. So, there you go. You should Okay, so now here's the question.
Yeah.
We got multiple cameras
Yeah.
going. Who's leading? So who gonna be Beyonce or who gonna be?
Who would be Beyonce?
I don't want to be Beyonce.
I'm following you.
No, don't follow my lead.
Why not?
Okay. What are we doing? What, we just talking?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah, why not? I think the most natural thing is just a conversation that happens.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know we're two men of God, so that thing might take left, right.
I'm fine with that.
Come on, okay.
Even on my content, because like I haven't really like it's me, right? So like I still very much am strong on my faith. Like my whole thing is like enhancing like, people's lives, and so that comes from being a choir director, being a worship leader, being in positions of people being in like not having advocacy in their life. So that's the whole like thing that I've gotten into for real estate. So like my faith very much drives the enhancement of real estate.
So we're already rolling. No intro, no nothing. Right? So all I'm gonna say, Neil's Jr. BMJ. Yeah. They know OBJ. No. OBJ. Old news.
That's right.
Old news. BMJ. Brandon Moore Johnson. Absolute pleasure hanging out with you.
Yeah, you too.
But so let's just get into this straight good but bad stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Meaning, in real estate, we're told don't talk about religion. Don't talk about politics. The way things are set up.
Right.
You can't do certain things under certain codes. You can't do. So for me, I know where I stand. I know my viewers and my people know where I stand. What about your people? I'm sure they know, but what about everyone else, right? How do you operate in this environment where to be legal and to make sure that ethically and morally you do this, but you and I know that we serve the creative universe, and I'm like, I gotta get Caesar was here, and also can't be like, I'm gonna bite my tongue. How do you navigate that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it's just being honest and true to yourself while understanding the guidelines that we have to operate by. And I think as long as you're not being against somebody, for me to say, I believe in God, that's not me saying that I'm not going to do business with you.
Now, hold on. You say that, but a lot of times the enemy, or those that they say, oh, well, if you're pro something, that means you're anti something else, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what you're saying. Hey, this is you believe what you believe.
Yeah.
You do what you want to. That doesn't mean that I'm not working with.
Yeah, because I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm outwardly spoken, right? I'm not on my social media all the time, like Bible thumper. I'm living a life that I feel God has called me to live. And I think through that action, I have people come up to me and they'll be like, you're different. Like, what's different about you? Like, why are you smiling all the time? What does that look like? And I create those opportunities saying like, well, the only way I can explain that is like my relationship with Jesus and how I live my life. And it opens up that conversation. And I've had people straight up just ask me like, are you Christian? I'm like, yeah, of course. But they know that I'm not treating them any differently because my actions have never told them that I'm treating them any differently. And when it comes to the whole political side of things, I don't like politics in general, so it's just not my thing. Like, so you'll never see me posting about politics, never see me post about this thing. So I'm getting new into understanding why it's important, and then also why people's like, are you a Trump supporter? Because like, I don't like Trump supporter. I'm like, I don't, like, what does it have to do with like our working relationship? It has nothing to do with it. So I just like, I don't answer. You know, I don't know. I'll just respectfully.
It's raining outside.
And I'll joke about it, like, you know, respectfully, like, we don't need to get in an argument, and it has nothing to do with what we're doing. So like, and also I don't like politics, so like, let's move into a different direction.
So talking about moving in different directions, you're in a different direction. Now, so first, people like, who is BMJ? What does he do, right? And so I know there's a lot under the umbrella, the BMJ umbrella. But here's what I want to know. You're doing some things right now in the midst of this crazy thing called life itself. Real estate agent, investor, secretary. I'm not like at a desk doing this stuff, but leadership.
Right.
And so I want to get straight into the leadership piece.
All right.
And
I don't know if my association wants to get into it.
No. But here's why. So not just that leadership piece, but just leadership in general. Right?
Yeah.
I'm a young man, minority, Christian believer, husband.
Father.
Yeah. Why would you want to put something else on your plate?
My wife asks me that question all the time.
Okay, so do you have an answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like for me, leadership is a big aspect of my life, and I always try to seek opportunities to better myself. So, in the realm of me being a secretary, being involved, everything has a reason and a progression for me to be in it. So like being a realtor, my whole goal is like, how can I be the most professional realtor I can be?
Right.
If I don't understand my industry, there's no way I could be a better realtor.
Right.
Like there's a professional that comes with it. So like getting involved, I couldn't answer the question of like, why does the association exist? Why is NAI important? Why is Florida Realtors important? Why is my local association important? So put my money where my mouth, my time where my mouth is,
right.
And I got involved.
Okay.
And talking to my wife, you go to her and say, hey, I'm going to be more involved. Before I stepped into the secretary, I had to let her know. She knows I'm trying to...
You mean you had to ask for permission?
Yeah.
Okay. We're smarter than we look.
Yeah.
Baby, I have this... I would like to make a proposal. I would like to get more involved, but I need your final stamp right here.
And she'll let me know if I'm getting too involved real quick.
Okay, so real quick. So in this thing, we want to make a difference for the masses, for ourselves. But then mama's at home like, hold on, wait, now don't forget your first ministry. This right here, because we know that once we say yes to the association, once we say yes to leadership, other agents, saying yes to all these other endeavors, we've got to say no to something.
Right.
And mama's going to say, what you're not going to do is say no to these responsibilities.
Yeah, because you feel the tension. And it's the little small things of like, you're not helping with the dishes, and I'm horrible at it, and I'm really working on it as a husband, truly, and I'm gonna tell her myself, because there'll be times where she's like, I had hoped that you would have done the dishes, like, and I've been home, she's really busy, and I'm lazy sitting on the couch after like a long day at work or whatever it is, and so like she's called me out, and so we have to sit there and like have to be better at those communications, and then so when I'm getting too involved, she'll let me know. She's like, hey, like your attention's elsewhere and I need you to be more focused here. And so now I've made it a habit to when I'm doing more stuff, I present it to her and I say, do you think this is a good idea for me to be involved? And I have to bring my case to her. I have to say, hey, like I want to do this, here's why, here's the benefit, and she'll be like, yay or nay.
Okay, so on that, how important is it to have a partner, to have a spouse that you can have these conversations with, right? Where you come and say, hey, love, I know we have this thing together, but here's something that I'm chasing after. What are your thoughts on it? The whole thing about wise counsel, right? For lack of wise counsel, words are lost. So big deal in your life?
It has to be. And it in my immaturity of being a husband, I didn't think it was as big of a deal.
We never do.
Right? And then now knowing as we're growing as a family, if I don't have her stamp of approval, and then so I've been known to like do stuff without her approval before. This doesn't always work out in my best interest or the family's best interest, but my whole thing is like, I'm working so hard to build a better life and to create the space for my daughter and my wife. But she looks at me and she's like, I don't really care about all the things you're doing. I just care about your time and being involved here in the family. And so that dynamic of me wanting to be a go-getter, me wanting to have a lot of growth, but then also like having to stay rooted, like with where I'm at and still paying attention to her. The only person that gives me that clarity is her, and it's usually like a rude awakening.
And so I had the same experience with my wife, right? Because I'm sitting here telling my wife, you gotta have faith in God, you gotta trust that He's gonna do, but then I'm trying to control everything.
Right.
And my wife is like, hey, we're okay with it. That's cool, that's great. I know you want to build this great thing, but if you keep going down this road, you're going to be enjoying it by yourself. And I'm like, it ain't going to be no fun. That ain't no fun.
Yeah, like I told my wife, I was like, I want to have $10 million in a bank account. Like, she's like, you want to be rich? She's like, I don't care. Like, at all. I'm like, oh.
You're like, hold on.
Yeah, let me. So.
Okay, wife, we're going to have to revisit this. And okay, good stuff.
So it's definitely helped me like reassess, right? So now that I look at that, I was like, cool. I was the one that wanted like this wealth and this thing, and my wife doesn't. So then I had to rethink, okay, what really is important? So I really brought it back down to, as long as like we're taken care of as a family, and my whole goal now is to create the space for my wife to like live the life that she needs to live, for my daughter to live the life that she wants to live, and it's not necessarily a financial thing. It's like, that's my own like ego and wanting to be in it, but now it's like, having my wife, when you go back to the question of is it important to like have those conversations and have that relationship and have that partnership, that's the only way it should exist, in my opinion. We share the same opinions. Y'all can put our opinions in the trash if you want to, but that was our opinion. Okay, so let me ask you this. So you're talking about the things that you've learned just as a growing husband, right? But we're talking about leadership, right? So how have you taken maybe some things from home, listening to outside counsel, maybe thinking that your way isn't the best way, and how have you tied that into your professional leadership? Like maybe even with the association in this position where you're coming and saying, hold on, I know
you're a go-getter.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to get this done.
Yeah.
Q1, we want to blow this button, we want to get all this stuff done. And have you ever had that thing come to you and say, hold on, Brandon, slow down, think, listen to. How is that going?
Yeah, so honestly, that's always been a thing in my life. So transitioning it into my actual like married life has been the struggle. But in always growing up, I've always been one to tell on myself, to get information. If I don't know something, I always sought out the information. So that growth aspect, one of the stories that I had was when I was working as a server at this resort, they implemented something called 4 Disciplines of Execution. It was like an operational system. I saw it, I was already reading the book because my friend and I met every Friday for like leadership stuff. And I was like, oh, like I'm already doing this in like my personal life. I'm reading the book. Here's how we do it. And then they're not operating how they're supposed to. So the manager came to me. She's asking all the servers like, hey, what are you doing to like better your life? And they're like, well, I'm bettering the menu or like learning like all this stuff. And I'm like, well, I'm doing leadership and talking about 4 Disciplines of Execution because like that just growth and development for me is I brought that into my life. So I sought out those mentors. When I was in college, I sought after a mentor. Like even when you came in, like you came and did a class on me, and I was like, oh, that's somebody I want to like learn. And I'm glad that God has like brought you back in, right? And to see, because that connection of like, oh, there's somebody I could probably glean from, and there's people in my life that I've always sought out that leadership side. So hence being involved in the association was solely me having not having the leadership capacity that I knew I had and the knowledge that I needed. So I sought it out, and I started getting it.
Okay, so in that, young people, new ages, maybe not young in age, but just our natural being. Like, I know enough. I'm not going to ask anyone else for help. I don't need no coach, man.
Yeah.
So you're in this thing where you're getting mentorship, you're getting training in the leadership avenue, but also when it comes to just your real estate business.
Yeah.
I know you say you want to be the best realtor, best real estate professional you can be, and you're like, you looked around and said, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah.
There's another level.
Oh yeah.
And then, sure enough, you get introduced to someone, opportunities come up, and now coaching.
Yeah.
So, what has been the biggest shift, Brandon, pre-coaching in real estate to where you are right now? Now, I don't want you to go where you're going.
No,
because I know, like in here, your head is like world domination. Here we go, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as your wife watches, like, boy, we had this conversation already. You slow down. So what the difference between BMJ before coaching and BMJ now? What's something that you've seen?
Yeah. Well, like I'm only a month and a half into coaching, so it's like super new. I don't have systems put in place. I'm not the most organized person in the world.
Did you know that about yourself beforehand? And
yes.
Highlighted now?
Yeah. So it became, as I started producing more, it became more and more apparent that I need systems. I'm not organized, and my wife will tell you, like, I'm not organized at all. I'm a big dreamer, big vision.
So you're a visionary.
Yeah.
So you come with personality, you're the visionary.
Yeah. So I see the whole world, and I can see like the things that are broken, but you tell me to go and do it, no.
No. Do you see the challenge in that? So this is where we are, right? I can see everything, and I can tell you what's wrong, but I'm not going to be the one to do it. They be like, hold on, so you're just going to give us this big thing and tell us everything we're doing wrong?
Hence, seeing BMJ pre-coaching is I knew where my weaknesses were, and I had very honest conversations. My coach was like, hey, like, where are you for prospecting wise? And I was like, all right, let's get honest. I was like, I'm going to tell myself right now. And he was like, thank you for being honest. So like, I am very aware of the weaknesses that I have, and I'm just now stepping into getting the coach. So I'm excited for where I'm at now, where he's been like, hey, you got to be up at this time. You're going to text me every morning when you're up. You're going to be doing this at this time. You're going to do this at this time. And I told him, I was like, I need extreme accountability because I've had people who like say they're going to keep me accountable, but they don't do it. And then I know myself well enough, and I told him, was like, here's if you see me doing this or am I acting this way, it's because of this. And I'm like, I'm gonna let you know that now, so you know, what's going on.
So you're on that Jocko deal, that extreme accountability. See, listen, don't be like, hey Brandon, would you? You're like, nah, Brandon, listen, you failed right here. Fix it, or we're done for the. You're like, hold on, wait, hold on. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So then I asked him about that from him. And he's also involved with NAR leadership and like all this kind of stuff. So it's been really good. So like to me, like the Brandon where I'm at now is I'm rebuilding foundations. So I'm stripping my whole business down. I hired an assistant about like 2 months ago. So they helped me like how to teach her how to be a better leader. And so now I'm in this like, oh, like there's a whole other world of business operating that I've never been in. And so I'm like this little fish in a pond again, trying to like
Okay,
trying to grow and get bigger.
So let me ask you. So you talk about the success, like so. You realized where your shortcomings were in the business after you experienced success, after you started producing, right? And you're like, hold on, no systems, no processes.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to grow.
To sustain and
but
grow, yeah.
in order to get to that next level, you had to pull back. And so now you're like, I'm back to this little fish in the pond.
I'm back to being a brand new agent
right?
again.
So how does that feel? Is it something that you're excited about, or is it, you know, going through and say, okay, let me endure, let me excel here to go ahead? So what's that process like for you
honestly,
and for anyone that might be watching?
Yeah, I'm extremely excited about it because I
know you're a weirdo, right?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, we don't get excited about breaking nothing to fix it bigger and better. We just
because like again, I see the future, I see the opportunity, and to me, I'm very excited about it, but I'm also fearful that if I don't execute, I'm going to be left behind because of where the market and where the future of real estate is
and
going,
how quickly it's
and how quickly it shifts.
Yeah.
I mean, we experienced 3 different markets for the last 3 years. Like, and it's just, it's constantly going. So I'm seeing the agents that are coming in who are new, who have a false understanding of how to run a business, how to be a real estate agent. And so I see that, and then I see the successful ones, and there's a commonality between those who are successful. They do the very boring things on a continuous basis.
Master the mundane. Bro.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. I have to do it, and it's not me. So I follow somebody, Brandon Turner. He's on Bigger Pockets. He's a big investor, right? And his thing is like, I'm trying to figure out how I can fire myself from everything. So that's where my mindset. But you can't fire yourself without doing the work first,
Come on, sir.
right? So that's where that's where I'm at. I'm trying to do the work first, trying to get out of this funk of real estate and life that I've been in for a little bit, and bring the accountability, be a better husband, be a better father. But it's incredibly difficult. But the excitement is if I do stick with it, what the benefit of that is going to be.
So how long have you been in the real estate game? Just let people know that.
5 years.
5 years. So relatively new.
Yeah.
A baby when you start talking about the decades that I've been in, right?
Yeah.
But here's something, so you're talking about, man, I'm tearing this thing down after 4 years, 5 years, getting into it, starting over. And you made a comment earlier about, man, I've been doing this for 4 years, 5 years, and I'm just now learning. There are people now who are decades in who still haven't learned, right? Still who resist change. And unfortunately, we're going to see them get passed by the marketplace, by opportunity. So that's to be commended, sir. Good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so now let's jump into some fun stuff real quick. Before we turn the cameras on. Hey, stop it. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I had a feeling where it was going. Yes.
This guy right here, you picking up what I'm putting down. Before we turned the cameras on, I was over there singing. I was making my joyful noise.
Yeah.
And then I heard a voice from heaven, and it sounded much like...
Hey.
And I said, hey, what you're not going to do is, you're not going to be around here standing next to me, sitting next to me, singing angelic, and got me sounding like a rusty rusty
ain't nothing
wheel.
wrong with that.
Ain't nothing
no
wrong.
rest of God doesn't think it sounds bad. So.
Hey, you're right. Hey, listen here. You doggone right. God knows what He made. He knows what my strength is, and that's why He partnered me up with a brother. So
Oh my gosh.
we're gonna do a lip sync. I'm gonna be lip syncing. It's gonna be your voice.
What do you want to see?
I don't know. I'm from Alabama. All I know is old Negro stuff. You might not know none of that. Yeah, so I know your
Which one? I was raised in Arizona. I wasn't
I'm
in
not
the.
doing that right now. What they gonna do? They're like Neil done went off the rail. Like Beyonce got skills. Neil,
that is.
I'm a speaking gigs get canceled. Everything I'm trying to teach, they're gonna be like, nah, we ain't having
No.
They're gonna hire you instead. You'll be my voiceover.
You've been killing this interview this whole time. I'm
man.
over here sitting just in awe, I know what to do next time.
Okay, so talking about interviews and this platform right here.
Yeah.
So you have had all of the stuff you've needed to do this, right?
Yeah.
And so just share with me, but also share with anyone that might be watching that difference, that shift up here that goes from me knowing how, me having the stuff, the items, and the doing.
Yeah.
The doing of
Yeah.
that thing.
Well, theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge are very.
Man, see, look, you handsome and smart. My dog BMJ. Come on, bro. Theoretical.
It's theoretical and practical, I think the knowledge of it and the hands-on experience, I'm realizing the weakness of me is not understanding, I'm the kind of person, I want to break it down, and I want you to physically show me what does this look like. But a lot of times you just can't. And so the idea of just go out and do it and figure it out along the way, you start getting that feeling of like, oh, like this is how it's supposed to go. These are the things. So with the social media stuff, I knew the knowledge of it, but the practicality of sitting down and saying, hey, like let's do an interview, let's set it up, and it took us 2 minutes to set this up. You don't realize how easy it is. And then once you get into it, like I'm the fear of like, how's this gonna look? What's this gonna look like?
Meanwhile, I don't care. Yeah. Y'all gonna get me one thou wow. I can have stuff in my beard. Y'all gonna get me like this right here. Y'all say, man, but that's also what people enjoy, right? And like even this video, no intro, no formal. You know, we ain't gonna have all these transitions. But you do great work, bro. I'm looking at the stuff. Great work, fantastic.
And it's funny because I see that stuff, and that's super easy for me to do. And so I see, so that's why I'm like, because I'm such a big picture, I see what the future could look like. So sometimes I'm too stuck in the future of like, oh, this is what I could get to, versus just being like, I have everything I need now. Why don't I just do stuff that I do now? That most people would think like, oh, like, what are you doing? And like, so I did, we have our title company, we own a title company, there's a title rep in there, and she wants to do more video content. And she was like, oh, like, I don't know what to say. And I was like, I got my phone, I set this up, and I videoed her. I was like, just give me a 15-second tip. And she did it, and I sat there in front of her. It took me 30 seconds to like put on the captions, put on the thing, send it to her. And she's like, and she's gotten so much views on it, like that she's never really had before. And I looked at that, and I put the practical to somebody else because I'm my own critic. And I was like, oh, like, why am I not doing this?
Why am I not taking my own mail? So here, let me write a prescription for you. Here, there you go. And what about you, Brandon?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And that was last week. So seeing it, and she was like, I hate the way I look. And I'm like, nobody cares. And I told her, like, I said the same thing to myself.
Okay.
It's like, I hate the way I look on video, but everybody sees me every day. It's normal to them. I don't see myself in the mirror all the time, so when you see it, you're like, oh God, like, what does that look like?
I look at myself in the mirror all the time. Me and my wife, we be elbowing for mirror room. I be seeing like, girl, you
just trying to get to you, know, like, I know I'll be sexy when my hair goes.
Hey, so you will be sexy when your hair goes, but while you can, hold fast, don't let go. Because once it goes, so I think I just, like one bad haircut, one bad haircut. I tell every guy, you're one bad haircut away from being this sexy. You know
but I want to know about you.
Oh, sure.
I absolutely.
Okay, let's rock.
Because when you did a training in our class for
sir.
luxury real estate, and like how you present it, and there's a purpose behind everything you've done. So what would you say is that purpose is driving you in your life and in your business?
So my whole purpose, much like you said, I want to make sure that, you talk about advocacy. So I just want everyone that looks like me, that has a background, so anyone that's felt like they are less than or they're not supposed to, I want them to see what's possible. So on many of my bios that I have, I tell people that I'm proof of what's possible with God and prayer, right? So when they see me and see me having fun and doing this thing, it's really because, one, I really am at ease because I know I'm not in control of anything, right? And so I think that takes the pressure off, right? And so that's going to be one part. But then the other part, I just want people to have fun. Man, dude, we get one crack at it. So, and something a lot of people don't know, October 23rd, 2013, I was in an accident where I broke my leg. I had a compound fracture, had the surgery. So compound fracture means the bone is coming out of the skin, y'all. That's bad. That's bad. So your boy flatlined as a result of blood clots and all that, and they had to resuscitate. And so I tell everyone that my job is to put the fear of death in people before they have to experience it themselves. And so at that time, I'm 25 years old, and my life is over, right? And this is where I look back and I say, if I'm not here, and I had done some pretty great things at 25 according to the world and monetary, but I'm sitting here, the things that I just wasn't full of joy and didn't have fun. And so I was like, no, we're not doing this. So when I said we only have one life to live, that might be a lie because I'm on my second one. But that's... And that's it. Have you had to edit it in? Now, y'all know.
Somebody pray.
I'm Alabama.
Where's the tambourine?
Come on. And so I think that's part of it, man. As men, as husbands, as fathers, as leaders, business owners, we can just take ourselves too serious, right? And so that's why I do believe that one of my greatest gifts is to make people smile. I like when people see me and they're like, Neil, and I'm like, hey, my work here is done.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back here and have a cocktail. Thank you very much. And so then my next goal, my next purpose in life, something I've been chasing after. Before my dad passed, he told me, your goal in life, son, I want you to adopt something that I've lived by. I want you to be missed. I don't want you to be remembered. I want, when you're no longer in a room, I want them to say, I wish Neil was here. And I've tried to live by that. So when I see Brandon walk up, even when I hear your voice, I'm like, comes Brandon, right? And so coming to these events like this is cool because you get to see people that when you interact with them, you know it's gonna be good stuff. Because while we're out sowing our seeds and doing good stuff for the world, a lot of times we get depleted, and then you just got to come around and see familiar faces and be reminded of that feeling, right? And I think that we forget that. So
no, that's good.
I'm having a blast, man, doing God's work, showing people what's possible. When you have faith, do the right thing the right way. Surround yourself with good people. Laugh at yourself in the process. Record as many videos as you can, not only for yourselves, but for your kids and for your family members. So I don't do a lot on Facebook, but that's where all of my family and friends and the people who poured into me, I ain't trying to say old, but that's the platform they're on, right? Yeah. So professionally, it doesn't make as much sense, but I would be selfish to say I'm going to abandon the people who help make me who I am. So lots of I just put on Facebook and I just bless your heart, sweetheart. Oh, hey, Junior, Neil, Lil Neil, they be calling me all the names. And people like, somebody said Lil Neil. Who's Lil Neil? Is that your son? I'm like, no, that's me, because my daddy was Big Neil. Like, oh, how long your daddy been? I'm like, long time, but I'm forever Lil Neil, right? So I think that's the fun, like enjoying life, not taking myself too serious, while also being professional, right? Showing people that just because you think that you can't do something, and our video or our time here together is proof of that. The fact that you might never, because we're never going to be ready.
Right.
He doesn't call the ready, he calls the willing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if we are willing, because how did our time come up together? We were sitting downstairs, we saw each other, said, hey, we should do something sometime. And then we both simultaneously pulled out our phones and we were like,
you don't put action to the
men of action, turn thoughts into actions faster. That's one of the things I think that has allowed me to excel in anything I do. When I have a thought, I go in and say, well, how can I turn that thought into an action before either the thrill dies or before my competition, my colleagues beat me to it. And then not being afraid of the outcome. So I was just telling one of my clients the other day, one of my coaching clients, he was asking me, he was like, Neil, what would you attribute your success to in every area? And it was just, and I know it's cliche, Brandon, but I just failed faster than everyone else could count. Right, so
quickest way to learn,
man. And I come here and I do something on Monday. I might fail 3 times on Monday, have a success Monday evening, fail 5 more times, and then it's Wednesday and have another success. And they're like, dang, Neil just goes from victory to victory. I'm like, oh, you didn't see, man, I done lost 13 times. And now I ain't gambling with no money when I'm losing. I'm trying these different things, right? And I think us being understanding and losing and learning and figuring it out, I think that's going to be a big difference in everything. So if I can continue to show people how to do that, I'm happy.
That's good.
That's it.
That's good.
Man, okay, so quick question for you. We've talked about up until now. Now, I don't want you to go big vision, all that. Don't go too far visionary on me.
Sure about that?
Don't go, because you can't share everything with everybody, man. They're going to put them dartboards on you and everything else. So here's what I want. What would make the first half of 2024, if you look back on the first 6 months of the year, what would it take for you to say, I did? Like, we won this first 6 months. It was a victory.
Yeah, honestly right now, it's going simple to me. It's tracking my metrics and saying in 6 months, I can actually look back and actually see what my business looks like. So I can see where the numbers are, I can see how many contacts I've made, I can see like how many videos I put out, I can see those engagements. And
that
to me,
ain't sexy though.
It's not, but to me, like, since that's what my focus is, and that's like, for the next 6 months, honestly, it's been my frame of reference. Like, because my coaching goes 6 months to 6 months, right? So it's like for the first 6 months, if I can be at 6 months and look back and see that like, oh, what I've done has put me on the trajectory to be like, to lay my foundations are laid, and now for the second half, I can keep building on that. Like for this whole year, that's honestly my main focus and my goal. And I've taken away like the big dreams that I have, and just kind of put it on the back burner to make sure I'm like, well, let's focus on where I'm at.
So on that, we hear, because I know we want to hear these big things, we want to name and lights, and we want to say, yes, when I have the jet, and when I'm retired and all this stuff. But it really is as simple, not easy, but as simple as like just breaking that thing down in chunks, right? Yeah. And then the hard part comes into I always tell everyone it's simple, but it's hard, right? Like it's going to require work. So for you, it's, okay, maybe not put blinders on here, but stop looking 3 years down the line and coming back and saying, 6 months, number of videos. Right. 6 months did I prospect? 6 months did I do, and that consistency to compound.
Yeah. Because I know if I do it in that long, like at that time, by 6 months to 8 months, I'll start seeing the fruit of all of that. And so if I can't look back at my metrics, because that's where I'm at now, which is why I got a coach. I'm like, I don't know.
If you don't know,
I don't know what my numbers are. I don't know when my next client's coming. And my coach is like, yeah, we gotta like actually hone this in and figure it out.
So me knowing your coach, knowing how good of a guy he is, and I'm sure he's told you all these little one-liners and everything to help solidify why you're doing things. But has he told you that if you can't measure it, you can't improve it? Yeah. But you already knew that, right? Yeah. Like, I know that if I can't measure it, I can't improve it. I just don't care about measuring because my gifting is in vision. Yeah. Like, listen, brother. Yeah. You got to get this thing.
More his and I conversations right now has just been like, he's just like, thank you for being honest. He's like, if you're not honest, you can't grow.
Are you shocked that that's the feedback from the coach?
No.
But, I mean, because think about it. You would think, like, what do you mean, thank you for being honest? Isn't everyone honest? Yeah. Like, why would I lie to you when you're trying to help my business?
I'm blessed enough now to know that I know myself well enough, and I know I'm not putting myself in a position to not allow somebody to speak into me. Like, I just won't put myself in that position. So going through the coach, and I've been following Tommy for a while, who is a real estate coach.
Hold on, man. Come on. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and give my dog put some respect on his name.
Put some respect on his name. It's Tommy Joy. That's
Tommy Joy.
It's Tommy Joy.
Okay, this message, that promo was not approved by Tommy Joy. I just want to make sure you know that.
I did it to him on the call one day. He loved it.
He had it.
He loved it.
He had to say he loved it.
Yeah. So Tommy Joy's been.
He had to say he loved it because you were on the call with him. Now he was like, man, please never do that again.
I thought of it before I got in, and as soon as he hit the thing, I was like, Tommy. He's like, yo.
He's like, ooh, that was a lot.
Yeah.
It was probably like either early in the morning or late. He was like, ooh, that's a lot for Monday morning.
He asked me if I could record it for him so he could have it.
And did you?
No, because he didn't record it. There's no action to it. So, Tommy. Let's go.
No, so
I'll record it for him.
Record it and send it to. Deliver more than you expected, man. Come on.
Coaching everywhere.
So as soon as we get done here, he's going to record that, send it over. And don't worry about the quality or anything else. That's going to be on time to get that.
All I got to do is take the clip from here, and he already has it. So.
Oh, no. Okay, so wait. We're gonna do this. You all are going to see it right now. I'm going to be quiet. Go ahead.
Tommy, Joy.
Look, see? This is where men of action. How can you turn a thought into an action faster? Because let me show you what happened. We started having this conversation about Tommy Choi. Mm-hmm. Then you did your little jingle. You said that, he told you to record it. I was like, well, after this, you said, no, I can just take this clip. But do you see what happens when you get around good people? And an idea, even if it's a bad idea, turns into something now that someone hears.
But I love that you said that, because surrounding yourself with people will help you do that. It's like, I've been in a world right now where you don't really get that very often. So the coaching and having this conversation, it's like, no, put people in your corner who are gonna hey, you said this. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I tell you, I am either the best or worst accountability partner you could ever have, because it's okay, the best, if you really want to get something done, so my wife, my son, my friends, they're like, hey, we want, Neil's not around. We want to do this, because my first reaction is, but this goes back to having already expired. Right? I'm on this, I'm no longer here. And without God's miracle, I'm no longer here. Yeah. And then there will be all these things where a lot of people say, well, no, well, I said I was going to do it, but I'll do it sometime. I'm like, huh? You know,
right.
13, so 11, 12 years ago, I'm no longer here. Now all of a sudden it's like, ooh, that's wild. Right? So, okay. So now, tell me, Troy, you could thank us. I don't know where you want to send the royalties. I didn't have anything to do with it, but maybe I can get some executive producer credit.
Hey, maybe. Everybody says I should start a jingle company because, like, I do that all the time.
Now, hold on. Here's what you're not going to do. Okay.
I said everybody says, not me.
No.
So don't tell me this.
No, but check this out. How is that? How do we deal with that? I'm sure you have people tell us what we should do and how, because we want to surround ourselves with wise counsel, with different voices, but then as just like we're visionaries, we have the gift and the curse of thinking that every idea is an idea that we can turn into reality. Right? So how is it now, not just with your coaching or short term, but how do you know what to turn away from or not to even attempt? Because you're creative. Right? So you talking about the singing, like you're just a creative spirit. So you can see something while you're doing what you're supposed to do. Next thing you're like, I got it. I got a plan.
Yeah, that's the having a solidified understanding of what your goals are and where you're heading. And so for me, I codified what my purpose in life is use the skills and resources that I have.
You what? You codified?
I codified it. I codified it.
Listen, because like that's why I hang out with smart people. Y'all like really smart.
People always ask me like, why did God put you on this earth? And we're like, I don't know. And to me, that's the difference between happiness and joy. Happiness is like just a fleeting feeling that you get every day. Joy is a solidified understanding of like who you are and who God has called you to be. And so you have the understanding of people saying, like what's your purpose in life? And so I went through a really long process of really like breaking myself down to figure out what that was because I didn't know. And so now I got to the point where like my purpose is to use the skills and resources that God has given me to help somebody else find success. And I found that out by looking back in my history of being an RA. Like, what did I find most joy in? I was an RA, freshmen are coming in, they didn't know anything. I got to help them on their journey.
Okay, so everybody didn't go to school.
Not everybody went to school.
RA,
resident assistant, yeah.
So he got to give and help. Okay, come on.
Yeah, and then so like taking that and then seeing them like go on their path, and I helped them with the resources that I had. And then being a worship director was the same thing. I got to use what God has given me to help them. Being a choir director, people needed advocacy. They didn't have hope from their leadership, so I stepped in. And I was like, hey, I don't know what we're gonna do, but I'm gonna be here. I'm an advocate for you, and I'm gonna give you what I have so you can be successful. And so when I went through, I put it into words. So now, to go back to your question of like, how do you know the things you should be doing and things you shouldn't be doing? To me, it's based on what that purpose is, where I'm at now. So when something comes in, I'm like, no, that's not where my purpose is, one. And two, the goals that I've set, that doesn't align with where that's at.
Man, so this is only our first one. I can't wait for the next and the next because I know people are going to say, man, you put these two knuckleheads together.
Hey, I'm for it.
So we're laughing, but also I'm always loving being around fantastic people. Yeah. And you, sir, are a fantastic person. And then as a man, husband, father, and just as a student, right? Someone who wants to get better. I think it's refreshing to see someone who knows who they are and knows how jacked up they are, but then also says, okay, yes, I'm screwed up, but there's some hope on the other side. And then being able to be spoken into, especially by those who are closest to us. For you and I, it's going to be our wives who are saying, hey, you can go be BMJ and all that stuff over there, but when you come here, just know I saw what you did. I know you know you. I know where the bodies are buried, so don't start. I know you over there. I know you out there in that realtor world and everybody doing all this to you. Hey, listen, you didn't wash the dishes. Right? Me, I didn't fold the clothes. Right? And so this is where I think it's so
That's so funny. That's a very real dynamic too, though. Because you have all this stuff on social media. My wife does not like anything I do on social media. Like, she doesn't like it. She doesn't interact with it. And I'm like, why don't you interact with my stuff? She's like, I just don't care about social media. Like, I don't care about it. So to me, I have that, that's a check for me, and it's something I'm learning. She's probably gonna roll her eyes at me right now. That if I'm doing all that stuff on social media and putting the effort into it, I'm not putting the same effort in at home.
Come on.
That is a struggle that I deal with, and she's probably gonna be like, yeah, 100%.
I tell you what, why don't you do something around here that would deserve a like with the dishes?
Yeah.
So let me ask you that. I know that's something in our world. Social is the end-all be-all, right? If you're not friends on Facebook, then you're not friends in real life, right?
Sure,
if I unfriend you, that means that
cut it off.
Hey, when you see me, don't even look in my direction. So and I'll just tell, wife, I call my wife wife. You know I love you. You know I care about you.
Yeah.
We have an understanding. My wife, her job, she watches nothing I produce. No content I put out, not a single bit of it. Because she's like, I'm kneeled out today.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, we're doing this, and I'm like, babe, this is so awesome. Me and BMJ, you've got to watch the video. She's like, It is. I stepped outside of my lane.
Yeah.
I know that is not what you do. That's
so what
not
you gotta do,
role.
you go home, hey babe, I fold the blankets, I fold the towels. I was like, can you go watch the video now?
And, no, so this is where my wife, so clear communication, we know how important communication is. She says, okay, do you need a view or do you want me to watch it? And I'm like, why are you asking? She said, if you want me to just press play, I'll press play. I'm like, no, that's fake, that might as well be a bot. She said, okay, what do you want me to get from the video? Then I will tell her. And she'll be like, do you think there's still a need for me to watch the video? I'm like, you just Jedi knowledge. I'm like, man, I wanted you to sit here and see the conversation and the relationship. Like, oh, I bet it's really nice. You guys should get together and do it again sometime. I'm like, oh. and I can't be mad because I just wanted her to know that I did something great. She's like, I know how good you
I just
are.
need the affirmation, please. Like, that's where I'm at. I feel like a little kid. I was like, I just need affirmation.
So, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
I thought we were done, but wait, there's more. Men, leaders, dads, husbands.
Yeah.
We out here conquering the world. We just want our baby to say,
yeah, good job.
good job.
Yeah.
I be telling my wife that all the time. and she sits here, she's like, are you serious? Like, you just came off stage in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
And all these people, and I'm like, baby, how did I do it? She's like, I waited for you 2 hours while you had the whole line. I'm like, baby, was it okay? Did I do it? She's like, you did fantastic. Or if I go up there and bomb and no one claps, anything, my wife comes, you know what? You had great points, you did all this. I'm like, man, screw all y'all. My baby said I did good.
I did great.
But so not just with the wife, how important is it to have the right people in your life that's going to speak to you and maybe give you that little bit of encouragement when you're like, okay, we have all of this going on. They told me I'm great. I did this right. I got this check come in. And then we're still waiting for that one voice, right? Or one or two voices. What's that like?
It's tough. I'm a words of affirmation guy. Like through and through.
So you know your love language.
Yeah.
You know what
so
that
on
is.
words of affirmation, I like for somebody to say, hey, like you did great, or hey, that was awesome. Like, great. If I don't hear anything, it messes me up so bad.
Okay, so we are not going to give any, wherever you're watching this, no feedback. We're just going to put cricket emojis.
I'd rather you say something negative than not say anything at all.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
Because you would take that negative as a coaching and learning point.
Yeah.
Nothing at all.
Because I can filter through the people that are just, whatever.
Huh.
But like to me, I see that as somebody might not like me, I don't really care. But like if you're not giving me any sort of feedback, then that's an issue because I seek to grow. So that's where it's like, did I do something wrong? And if you tell me, oh, like, yeah, that was great. I'm like, cool. But like, that's it. Like what else?
What was great?
Yeah,
what
like what was great?
bad?
Was it good? Did I do this? And so I'm being more strategic. Like I can't look for that in everybody. I have to look for that in strategic people.
And do you have those people? Have you identified those people in your?
More so now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Intentionality.
Yeah, because like I've had phases in life where there were people who did that, and then like they move on, and so there haven't been like, and this could open up a whole other conversation that we don't really have.
I'm not going to do it because we're only here for 2 more days. So we got no more time for this.
I know, because that goes into the whole thing of like a group in a single family household, not having a dad, and that like that need for that father role was never like didn't exist consistently. So in periods of my life, I would seek out those roles. And then there was never ever that level of consistency, which again is affected by like I'm a new father, still don't have that consistency till this day, and I'm having to rectify that with like my relationship with God, and then not having that physical representation of what that looks like. So hence the affirmation, hence wanting to like do that, having more people around.
Yeah.
So I just try to seek out those relationships. Yeah.
And I'm sure that has an impact on what kind of father you're being, and what you want, and so now making sure those priorities are in line, right?
Yeah.
Because hey, I can provide for you, but I'm gonna be on the road or out of the house, and like, hold on, knucklehead, don't you? Well, that's not what I need. That's not what you need. Like, no, I need your butt right here, looking at me, watch TV. I'm like, okay, right, got it. Come on, dude. I'm telling you, this is good stuff.
It is good, man.
Okay.
I love the conversation.
All right, so since we did no intro, we ain't gonna do no outro. We're just gonna say bye.
See ya.
Bye.